You know, there are certain jobs that are both really important and really anonymous. And if you start to hear the name associated with them, you know someone really screwed up. For example, if a bus driver's name makes the papers, well, unless he's just won Powerball, it's a fair bet he probably didn't have a good day at the office. Same thing goes for most American cabinet secretaries. Sure, everyone knows who the Secretary of State is, but the fact that so many people now know and are talking about the U.S. Secretary of Transportation, well, that suggests that there is something really, really wrong in that portfolio. So come along and join me as we go toot toot all aboard the Pete Buttigieg Express as we go busting the narrative. All right, look, if you're watching this channel, you probably follow American politics, and the name Pete Buttigieg is not entirely new to you. Remember, he was the fresh-faced gay married mayor of South Bend, Indiana, which had a transportation network that included something like a fleet of maybe a few dozen buses when he was elevated by the Biden administration to become the transportation secretary for the entire United States of America. And, well, guess what? With that experience behind him, things have gone just about as well as you might have expected. Because, you see, Pete Buttigieg is what happens when you put a diversity hire in charge of a job that is all about getting it done, not ticking boxes for HR. Let's take a few examples. Last month, the U.S. air travel system pretty much ground to a halt, melted down because of a variety of computer problems. But guess what our man, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, was doing? That's right. He was renaming the critical Notice to Airmen system, also known as NOTAM, that tells pilots what's going on. He was renaming it to Notice to Air Missions, not airmen, because that wouldn't be, you see, inclusive. No. Now, the whole thing was a joke, or as rather say, not a joke, as Joe Biden would say, because at the end of last year, they even had a symposium on this meeting where the Transport Department tweeted, quote, "Aerospace is for everyone, and the language we use matter. We launched an agency-wide initiative to adopt gender-neutral and inclusive aviation terminology." Well, yes. NOTAM, Notice to Airmen, Notice to Air Missions. You know what? I don't care. You know what I do care about? My plane staying in the air. But apparently Pete Buttigieg has other things on his mind. That's right. He's also worried not just about sexism, but about racist highways. Have a look at this.
I'm still surprised that some people were surprised when I pointed to the fact that if a highway was built for the purpose of dividing a white and a black neighborhood, or if an underpass was constructed such that a bus carrying mostly black and Puerto Rican kids to a beach, or there would have been, in New York was designed too low for it to pass by, that obviously reflects racism that went into those design choices. I don't think we have anything to lose by confronting that simple reality.
And now America is faced with a massive rail disaster in Ohio. On February 3rd, a train derailed in East Palestine, Ohio, carrying a whole load of really nasty toxic chemicals, so many that if it was Iraq 20 years ago, Dick Cheney probably would have already declared war on it. There have been evacuations, livestock deaths, all sorts of fears for human health, and chaos on the rail lines. But instead of speaking to the problem, well, what has Pete Buttigieg done? You guessed it. He's decided to again play the race card. At a conference on the weekend, Mayor Pete, as he is affectionately or not so affectionately known, was too busy fretting that, yes, you'll love this, there are too many white construction workers building the roads.
To work with your contractors, to work with your community colleges on building a workforce that reflects the community. We have heard way too many stories from generations past of infrastructure where you got a neighborhood, often a neighborhood of color, that finally sees the project come to them, but everyone in the hard hats on that project looking like, doing the good paying jobs, don't look like they came from anywhere near the neighborhood.
Right.
You can build community wealth that will help close wealth gaps in this country if we can tear down those barriers. But that happens at the delivery level.
Anyway, it's not like Buttigieg really has too much experience with the transport system anyway. I mean, why? When he and his husband want to go somewhere like, say, a sporting event in the Netherlands, they just hop on a private military jet. Look, pretty galling, but pretty on par for this administration, I'd have to say. Anyway, thanks for watching. I am James Morrow, and to support this channel, please like, share, and subscribe below, and I'll see you next week for more Busting the Narrative. Bye-bye.